Blasting President Obama for declaring that the Supreme Court would be engaging in, quote, judicial activism if it threw the health care law out. Listen.
He has totally and incorrectly misdefined or incorrectly defined judicial activism. Judicial activism, nobody ever accuses judges of judicial activism for following the Constitution. Judicial activism is when judges do not follow the Constitution, when they legislate from the bench, when they write their own law. The court must understand is one of his sound bites. No, the court must not, does not have to listen to you. What is this? The court must understand. That is a threat. How many of you think it possible that Obama will make a trip to the Supreme Court before the vote, before the final vote? Can you see it happening? I can.
Very interesting. Rush Limbaugh yesterday. Let's bring in Judge Andrew Napolitano, our Fox News senior judicial analyst. Judge, welcome. I know that you have a lot of thoughts on this. Good morning to you. Good to have you here.
I'm chuckling because our good friend, nobody could say it quite as directly and poignantly as our good friend and colleague, Rush.
What did you think about his statement in terms of this, the president, in his opinion, not understanding what judicial activism really is?
Well, there's another definition of judicial activism, and that is when the court rules the way you don't want it to rule, you accuse them of being judicial activists. That's a bit of a snarky definition. But what Rush said is true. It is profoundly the job of the court to enforce the Constitution, whether it's popular or not. That's why they are life tenured, so they don't have to concern themselves with the popularity of their decision. In that respect, Rush is correct, and he's wise to make this a comment as poignantly as he made it. In terms of the president saying the court must understand, Rush is also right on the mark. The court does not have to listen to the president. He should not be threatening or admonishing them. And if he shows up at their doorstep and tries to talk to them about this case or play nice to them in public, they should lock the door and not see him. They can socialize with him after they take their summer break.
You know, I thought it was interesting, and Rush touched on this in an earlier soundbite of his that we played, and it goes to the issue of President Obama talking about people with pre-existing conditions, children with diseases, and families that don't have the money to, pay for their treatment and things along those lines. He was appealing to sort of their sense of sympathy in this case of pre-existing conditions. Is that appropriate, in your opinion?
Well, the president is entitled to make political statements to advance his chances for getting reelected. But the Supreme Court will have a deaf ear with respect to anything he or anybody else, for that matter, says that does not come to them through the ordinary channels under their rules. Look, they read newspapers and they watch television like the rest of us, so they are certainly aware of what he said. Will they take it into account? Will they put it in that part of their brains to which they refer when they deliberate on this case? Absolutely not, and they shouldn't.
Rush was weighing in also on his thoughts on whether or not there was a leak, whether President Obama knows how that sort of preliminary vote went on Friday. Of course, we may never know the answer to that question. What do you think, though? Well, what's your assessment?
I think the system is ironclad. I know of no leak about the ultimate outcome of a case in modern times, even a case as controversial as Roe versus Wade, which was argued in September of '72 and released in January of '73. There was no leak whatsoever. I think the fact that there's been a leak has been rumors perpetrated by the president's own people.
Interesting. Judge Napolitano, as always, thanks so much for weighing in. We'll see you soon.
My pleasure.
Watch that.